Oh boy, I've been waiting a long while for this one. Super Mario Maker 2 for the Nintendo Switch, the sequel to the 2015 Wii U title that I already covered during its first few months after release. I'll leave a card at the top in case you're interested. Though I'm shocked that the second game didn't come out until next year to celebrate the Italian Plumber's 35th anniversary, seeing how the first Mario Maker was made to celebrate the 30th anniversary. Now you think that Mario Maker 2 would just be the first one again, but with maybe a few added bells and whistles here and there? Oh god, no. There is so much new stuff in this game that the 2 in the title is well deserved. Nintendo have clearly been busy, and the fact that we can take this anywhere we want further sweetens the deal, and it sort of makes Mario Maker 3DS totally obsolete. Earlier this year, to the surprise of many during one of Nintendo's Directs, there came a short trailer for Super Mario Maker on the Switch. However, it wasn't just the first game again, but an entirely new package with lots of new features to the point where they had to call it a sequel. The first Mario Maker was a huge success back in its prime, but the big issue was that it was on the Wii U, which certainly not everybody owned, even after Super Smash Bros. 4 was released. With the Switch already being a far superior console both in practicality and sales, it made sense to move Mario Maker over to the next generation. The first question I had for the second game though was how was it going to work on the Switch, since the first one perfectly incorporated the Wii U's gamepad by editing your level on it and testing the level with your TV. That was one of, if not the only, good use for the handheld accessory. Well, in Mario Maker 2, it is possible to use the analog sticks to place objects, though weirdly you have to take the Joy-Cons out if you're playing in handheld mode, but I surprisingly found the Pro Controller to be perfectly comfortable, more so than the Joy-Cons. The tools are also nicely laid out into different categories and these nifty wheels to find whatever you need more easily, but this game really wants you to take the Switch out of the dock and use a stylus for the editing. It's most likely why certain pre-orders included a Mario Maker themed stylus, which I couldn't obtain despite Nintendo saying that it's available at any online retailer, but for some reason in the UK it's game exclusive, so what the hell is that all about? Damn liars. As you may also remember from the first Mario Maker, the tools were slowly given to you on a daily basis or by putting enough objects on the screen, but in the second one, almost every tool is now available from the start, and only a couple of them have to be unlocked through the new story mode. It can actually be kind of overwhelming how many new assets there are to use. I'm still finding different ways that some of these are implemented. You have more themes for each level, including snow, jungle, and desert with brand new melodies by Koji Kondo, though I swear the Mario 3 snow theme sounds exactly like the Addams Family tune. But anyway, there's also the ability to adjust the altitude for water and lava at certain speeds. You may want to set conditions to clearing a level, like killing a certain amount of enemies, collecting all of the coins, or my least favorite ones, carrying this heavy-ass stone to the end, or not touching the ground after being in the air once. Those can be incredibly irritating. Aside from that, you can also have levels during the day or during the night, and nighttime even affects the levels in specific ways. The overworld makes Goombas float towards you, alright, bad example. The underground theme causes everything to flip. The sky lowers gravity. Snow areas make all terrain slippery. The jungle has poisonous waters. The desert theme throws sandstorms to blow you away. Ghost houses are much darker. Okay, that actually wasn't a great addition. I didn't really like it. And castles make you swim in the air. That's a weird effect. More enemies and mini-bosses are brought into the mix as well, like Boom Booms, Pom-Poms, Twisters, and Bonsai Bills, although there's still no charging chucks. What gives there? In addition, there are tons more obstacles and terrain thrown in, such as snake blocks, seesaws, slopes finally making their appearance, and switches to activate and deactivate objects attached to them. And in case you want something entirely different, you can now pick the Mario 3D world style with its own separate tools. It's not fully 3D, which is a shame, but I get that'd be an entirely different can of worms to work with there. Still, you can perform the long jump and equip the Cat Mario suit again to climb up surfaces, so that leaves a little more room for creativity. Accessing variants for each object is also now a bit faster, since all you have to do is hold the button over it and choose what type you want, like red or green Koopas, and if you want to make them bigger or fly. There's no amiibo support this time, which may be unfortunate to some creators, but honestly I'm fine living without them. The mystery mushrooms were more for cosmetics anyway, they didn't have much purpose otherwise, and the amount of costumes you had to unlock was pretty absurd to begin with, getting worse as time went on with the amount of added online challenges. The closest you'll get in Mario Maker 2 is choosing who you want to play between Mario, Luigi, Toad, and Toadette. Not a very vast selection, I know, but hell, I tried. As well as that though, you don't necessarily have to edit levels by yourself anymore. A second second player can assist you to get the job done a little faster. It does favor the first player more, however, with the camera control and canceling whatever the second player does by accessing some of the tool sets, but it's manageable as long as you both have good coordination, though I don't get why you can't undo things while multi-editing. This may sound like a lot to absorb, and I've only scratched the surface with what you can add to your levels, but like last time, the level editor itself is very user-friendly, and you'll naturally pick it up straight away as you're playing. Even if you don't though, then there's a healthy number of hands-on tutorials that you can check out to get the logistics. Mario Maker 1 already provided a huge amount of possibilities for level design, but Mario Maker 2 cranks it up to 11, providing even greater variety for stages. I can only name how many things are missing by just one hand, that's how much you've got to work with here. The on-off switch alone has been used in so many different ways, it's insane how creative some people can be with it. And completing various goals will net you different outfits for your Mii, which again is just for show. Even the boys can wear skirts and dresses, so go nuts if that's what you prefer. That sadly still doesn't stop some online levels and course world feeling, for lack of a better word, bad. Though thankfully it's not nearly as chaotic as before. You still occasionally get levels with very few obstacles in your way, and it may have just come down to me being lucky, but I hardly ever came across a level that's plastered the screen with as many levels and traps as the designer could fit. I suppose it does help that the second game now allows you to filter the kind of stages you'd like to play based on tags that their creators use to describe them. This was such an amazing addition to me, because that meant I could no longer find any of those automatic and music levels that I wasn't a fan of in the first game. And I don't mean to bring anybody down who enjoys those kind of levels, but I'm sorry, I really don't. I want to actually play the game, not have the game play itself. The one decent music level I found was this rendition of Gourmet Race from Kirby, because you actually had to jump in time with the song. That's the kind of thing I'd like to see more of, and again, another great use of the on-off switch. However, if you're looking for specific levels like from a friend or family member, you still have to input the code for that level to quickly search for it. Why that's still a thing, I don't understand. I also got some pretty bad vibes when I saw that comments can now be written for each level in Course World, because you know the internet, some people just love to hurt the feelings of others, especially if kids are involved. So far I haven't seen any particularly hateful comments to my recollection, but I imagine there's probably a few somewhere. Doesn't help that you can dislike the courses now as well, so just be careful when uploading your level online. Doubly so if they pop up in the new Endless Mario Challenge. Same as the first game, you can choose between different difficulties and try to complete as many player-made levels as possible. Easy, normal, and expert levels for the most part can be a decent challenge with only the occasional bad one, but super expert can still be pretty ridiculous. Again, I haven't played any that were quite as bad as the ones I found in Mario Maker 1, but these were clearly made for hardcore Mario professionals, which I certainly am not. And good luck doing these levels on the online multiplayer. 4 players can either compete or work as a team, racing to the end of the stage, but at its current state, online multiplayer is downright unplayable. There's far too much lag even with steady internet connections, and it's a crapshoot trying to get a decent server. It's like playing Smash Bros. Brawl online again. There's no excuse leaving it in the state that it is, given that we now have to pay for Nintendo's online services. You can do local multiplayer if you wanted to, but that would require multiple switches and multiple copies of the game, like Smash Bros. 3DS. Man, I'm mentioning Smash Bros. A lot in this video. Another minor issue I have, which was also present in the first Mario Maker but I didn't bother to mention, is that once again searching for coins and extra lives isn't exactly fulfilling or rewarding unless you're playing the Endless Mario Challenge. The only other time coins play a big part is in the brand new story mode. Yeah, they somehow managed to create a story mode for Mario Maker. It's not much of a story, but I appreciate the effort nonetheless, in case you don't feel like playing levels from amateur designers. Mario, the Toads, and Chief Toadette have just finished building Princess Peach's castle, but the Undo Dog accidentally presses the reset button that for some reason is just lying there on the floor, and wipes out everyone's hard work. This means you have to build the entire castle again, but unfortunately construction ain't cheap, so you have to participate in various levels made by Nintendo to earn your funding and slowly put the castle back together, with maybe a few additions to boot. It's basically kinda like Mario Maker 3DS's single player, but a little more involved. The Undo Dog never actually gets punished for what he did, which concerns me about how they're raising him. Oh, who am I kidding? Dogs are experts at getting out of trouble. Isn't that right, Roxy, you big smushy face? Fully completing story mode should take roughly 7 or 8 hours, and there's a total of 120 courses to go through, which is almost double the amount that Mario Maker 1 had. But like in that game, these are a very good way to show you the possibilities that can be done with the toolset provided. I wouldn't recommend playing story mode during long sessions because it can get a little monotonous after a while, but most of them are quite fun to go through, save for a couple of stages that enjoy pushing my buttons, such as the added completion conditions I mentioned earlier. These official Nintendo levels are also a bit more, well, cruel than your average Super Super Mario Bros. Game. Each one has their own difficulty, and I didn't often confront any unfair moments, but on the rare occasion if you're not playing the level exactly as the creator intended, things can get a bit messy. And Luigi, dude, I love you, but this was the first time you've ever annoyed me. He pops up every time you die twice in a level in case you want to place any blocks to further assist you with a particularly tough stage. However, this not only gives Luigi the credit for completing the level, but this means you're stuck with a little gray prompt on the lower left of the screen, and it drives me crazy. I know that seems like such a small thing to get infuriated over, but it's like a persistent reminder that's just taunting you to use it, and it doesn't even go away after you clear the stage. I can be a little obsessive compulsive at times too, so not being able to see that lower left corner of the screen somewhat aggravates me. Tiny problems aside, Mario Maker 2 somehow managed to be even more amazing than the first one in practically every way. More stuff to tinker around with, more modes to check out, and more accessibility now that you can take the experience on the go. I completely forgot how difficult it is sometimes to come up with a name for your level as well. It takes me God knows how many attempts before I stick with a name I can tolerate. But anyway, there's plenty to do here in Mario Maker 2. $60 may once again seem steep if you don't have imagination equipped, just like the first game, but either way you'll still have the new story mode to play with, and hundreds of thousands if not millions of levels to try out from other players across the globe. I'm sure everyone at this point has gotten themselves involved with at least one Super Mario Bros. Game, so you know what you're getting into. And just like before, if you wish to try out some of my levels, then here are the codes for you to put in. The top two are my personal proudest levels so far, while the bottom one is my most popular. Well, the next review was going to be Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, but I currently own the Switch version of the game, which as some of you may know is pretty poorly optimized as of this date. There are apparently meant to be updates coming over the course of time to make it run better, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. I really want to keep it as part of my Switch collection. In the meantime, I guess we'll return to the Devil May Cry marathon with the second to last game to talk about, DMC. See you all later, and if you have your own Mario Maker levels that you'd like me to try out, please send the codes in the comments below. I'm interested to see what you guys make. Now, you think that though I'm shocked that Super Mario Maker 2 didn't come out until And if you have any Mario Maker 2 levels you'd like me to try out, then leave